In California, dozens of marijuana retailers have been licensed to start selling recreational pot on New Year's Day. That includes one business in Oakland that was trying to become the first to sell recreational pot in the state in 2018.
With these scissors, I dub thee free.
The start of sales comes more than 2 decades after California became the first state to legalize medical marijuana in the U.S. For more on this, I'm joined now from Washington by Emily Dufton. She's the author of Grassroots: The Rise and Fall and Rise of the Marijuana in America. Thank you so much for being with us. So what kind of lessons have we learned from other states that have legalized recreational marijuana, like Colorado and Oregon?
Well, hi, Paula. Thank you so much for having me, and Happy New Year. I think that California's legalization that's being implemented today, as you said, is incredibly important, not only because that means that the entire West Coast is now legalized, but also because that brings legalization to nearly 40 million people. California is, of course, the nation's most populous state. And they're doing a lot of things differently than states have done before since legalization began in 2012. And even since 12 states decriminalized marijuana in the 1970s, they've learned quite a few lessons from the past. For example, they're putting limits on the amount of THC available in edibles, which will hopefully prevent children from eating them or becoming too sick or too high from ingesting these substances. There's a couple of ideas being discussed in local legislatures as well to help people with marijuana crimes in their past to actually enter into the industry. States like Colorado have barred people with any sort of criminal record for drugs from participating in this new economy, and that's a really big change. So I think California has learned not only from the mistakes of the past 40 years ago, but also since about 2012, since states started legalizing recreational pot as well.
So based on your reporting, do you think that we'll see more states pass laws like this in the future? Do you think the trend will continue?
It's an interesting trend, and I'm not entirely sure. All of the states that have legalized so far have done so through ballot measures, ballot initiatives, which are only available in about half of the states. So that does make it difficult for people in places like New York or New Jersey to pass these measures. Now, New Jersey is a unique situation as well because the new governor is interested in implementing legalization. If he does, that will be the first state that has implemented it through the state legislature, which could potentially open up a new realm for legalization coming through that way. But just because people have voted for legalization, that doesn't necessarily mean that the laws are going into effect. Maine's Governor LePage has actually vetoed legalization in that state. People are trying to work around it, but it's not a perfect situation in any measure.
Well, cannabis obviously is still illegal under federal law, and with Attorney General Jeff Sessions heading up the Justice Department, that's not going to change anytime soon. So what kind of legal hurdles do these dispensaries in California, what kind of legal hurdles do they face? How hard is it to open up a business like this as marijuana remains illegal under federal law?
It's a big hurdle to overcome. Probably the largest hurdle that people have to work around is how legalized marijuana and all of the industries surrounding it are an entirely cash-based economy. This is very difficult. Because California's economy is so large that it's actually the 6th largest in the world, this is a lot of money going into this industry, and you're dealing with it only in cash because of marijuana Schedule I placement. It's very difficult to have banks work with people who are working in this industry. So that's a bit dangerous. But with marijuana Schedule I placement, that also means that growers can't get federal insurance on their crops. So you saw in the wildfires in Northern California, millions of dollars of marijuana were burned. They were lost. And those farmers weren't able to collect on those losses because of marijuana Schedule I placement. So it's a difficult situation because of the discrepancy between state and federal laws about this drug.
Emily Dufton, thank you so much for joining us to talk about this. I have a feeling we may be talking again in the future if the Attorney General makes any further action on this issue. Thank you so much.
Thank you.